So this is the second essay clinic, writing in depth, and just as last time, of course, we're maintaining the medical motif to try and cure your essays of things that maybe perhaps they're a bit deficient in. So when you get to the body paragraphs of your essay, here are four key things that each good body paragraph must do. The top one is the most important as far as exams go. You must answer the question that you've chosen to answer. Of course, your evidence, your terminology, and maybe your analysis or your deconstruction of the example is really helpful. But the most important thing is each paragraph must attack the question. You must build an argument sticking closely to what question you've chosen. One key feature of any essay that is a weak essay is that the paragraphs which don't attack the proposal in the question, no matter how good they are and no matter how well they're written, unless they attack the question and argue with the proposal in the question, they're a waste of time. So some of the symptoms of your current essays, if I'm being brutal and blunt here, many of your paragraphs are just sexy. They are four sentences consisting of a statement, some explanation, an example, and then you add something else, and very little else. Often your essays consist of a shopping list where you've got a short introduction, a list of handy-dandy, rinky-dinky things that you might remember from class, and they are underdeveloped. At the end of each of your paragraphs, so well, so what? The question of why is this information important is not often addressed. I also would like you to think more about the effects on readers and the audience. Very rarely is this addressed in your work, and this is a good way of raising your essay up to merit and excellence standard. And finally, it's just the stuff we've discussed in class. If I'm being totally brutal, I hate, and other markers do too, reading essay after essay where it's just you summarizing badly the stuff I've told you in class. So you need to put some work in yourself and maybe do some thinking behind that. So, what's the cure? Well, to develop your ideas further, go sexy plus plus. Add another example, another you add where you explain why this particular point you're making is important. Maybe add some further explanation. You can refer to another text. We have discussed in class more than one film. So maybe refer to another film, show that you're making a connection. You might wish to link it to some critical theory that we've been studying. For example, you might give a Marxist interpretation, a feminist reading. You may wish to put your text into another context. So, for example, with our Talented Mr Ripley film, it could be placed in the context of genre, or is it a thriller genre, paying homage to Hitchcock. You might also wish to place it in context in the 1950s, for example. There's all sorts of ways you can do this. Definitely mention your audience. Definitely mention your audience. Use the correct terminology and show the marker that you are fluent at using the correct terminology to analyze at this level. And maybe you wish to give more than one interpretation. It's perfectly good to say this is one way this particular scene or aspect can be interpreted, but alternatively it might mean something different to a different type of audience. So, with the cure, we saw this cure last time. We perhaps burned them off, and this week we'll go with the Smiths, as 80s pop music. Look them up. Anyway, let's take more about the cure. Here's your prescription. Okay, write integrated answer. Now let's look at the question we're considering up the top of the page. The production features of a particular scene contribute to the successful development of a character. So, in your essay, you must attack that question. Answer the question directly. If any paragraph doesn't actually answer that question, it's a bad paragraph. Now, a question like this is difficult to answer because the question says to what extent, and you can't answer 51%. So you need to build an argument that actually engages with that question. So in your body paragraphs, you want to have integrated answers. So you can do the 5 points listed there with the blue stars, analyze the techniques being used, maybe show that you understand the film is a consumer product, that it is designed to make money for the film studios. People pay their money to go and see films in the cinema. I'm sure you know all about this. Maybe you wish to integrate some theory. The Stuart Hall, which we've talked about a lot in class already, you could use that. Maybe integrate some of the ideas that we've discussed in class. For example, if you're writing about the Talented Mr Ripley and you do not mention Übermensch, there's probably room for it somewhere in your essay. And of course, integrate information from other texts. We've talked about Alfred Hitchcock, so mention Vertigo. Mention the concept of the Hitchcock Blonde. Mention that the title Hitchcock Blonde is the title of a play by David Hare. Mention Eugene Onegin. Mention Alexander Pushkin. Mention Macbeth. Okay, they're all there in the film, so show that you can actually see the significance of them by integrating your ideas out of the text. So, you're going to do this. We did this today in class. Maybe if you're watching this now, you're going to do this at home. Plan the essay that answers the question above. Take about 10-15 minutes to do that. Then write one detailed sexy plus paragraph to answer it. And the red starred points down here, they're a sort of a checklist for some things that you could do to write a more developed body paragraph. So here's an example of the doctor's version. You might want to pause it here and read it through before you listen to more of this voiceover. Okay, now this is a good integrated paragraph that would reach excellence standard. So what makes it excellent? A number of things. The use of terminology is good. You see that in about the 4 lines down, MCU zooming to CU. Okay, those abbreviations could be written out longhand, but that's perfectly fine. There's clear evidence this student understands these techniques. The integration of quotation from the film, I Hate Opera tattooed across his chest. The integration of Eugene Onegin, that's the name of the opera that Tom is seeing at the theatre. There's also integration with the concept of audience. Down the end of the paragraph, you see that there's clear recognition that this film, and any film, is a consumer product, and people in the cinema respond to it in different ways. The understanding here of audience is quite sophisticated. There's clear recognition that this student sees that audiences come to the film with different experiences and different intelligences and all sorts of things. I also like the personal touch. The 3 lines up from the bottom, smug, understated triumph. And the second last line, there's a good sense of personality here. This really shines through. So there's a few things that you can do. Good luck writing the rest of the essay. And I think we'll end with a nice quotation from Alfred Hitchcock.